In this series, called 30-Minute Masterpieces, we explore artworks that can be completed within a 40-minute class period. Welcome to Painting with Janine Liza. In this video, we learn about primary and secondary colors and make complementary color bookmarks. This class can be divided into two separate classes. For this art activity, we need watercolor paper taped to a board, a ruler, a palette, preferably with at least 6 spots in it for mixing, some paints, just red, yellow, blue and black, masking tape, paper towel, 2 brushes, a 3/4 inch flat and size 3 round, some water, an extra sheet of watercolor paper not taped down, and a pencil. We'll be making a color chart with the primary and secondary colors, and then creating some complementary color bookmarks. Using the piece of paper that's not taped down, I'm going to draw 6 sections on it. First, I'll start with a diagonal line from corner to corner, then another from the other 2 corners. The sections will not be even in size. I just need to create 6 separate sections. So I'm going to put a vertical line here, just in the middle. And there we have it, a chart with 6 sections. Now I'm just going to put this one aside while I work on the piece that is taped down. I'm going to add extra tape because I'm going to have to section this up as well to make our bookmarks. I'll start with a line vertical in the center. This will divide the page in half, roughly. And then I'll put 2 more pieces dividing the 2 sections roughly in half as well. We also want to press the tape so that the paint doesn't leak underneath. Now this one's ready. We'll start with the first piece of paper. So we'll just put this one aside for now. We're going to need a large drop of paint in each of these 3 palette holes in red, blue and yellow. Now I'm going to add water to the primary colors. I'm going to add 6 drops to each of them with this large brush, the 3/4 inch flat brush. And I'll use my small brush to stir them, washing the brush fully between each colour. On our chart we'll put the primary colours here, here and here. Red, blue, yellow. For this basic chart I'm just going to use the large brush. With the large brush it's easy to fill in the larger spaces quickly, but then of course I still want to be careful with my edges. So I'll just use the tip of the brush or the edge of the brush to carefully paint the edges. Now the three primary colours are on the chart, we're going to mix these to make secondary colours. We're going to start with red and blue. We'll take equal amounts of red and blue and put them in a palette hole, being careful to wash the brush between each colour. So let's see what colour we've created with the red and blue and paint it between the red and the blue. This is called a secondary colour. When different types of red and blue are mixed together, you can get different variations of the colour, and this is a deep purple. Now let's try mixing red and yellow. Let's put equal parts of red and yellow in another palette hole. And we have a beautiful orange. We'll put this orange between the red and the yellow on the chart. So our secondary colour between red and yellow is orange. Now let's combine the yellow and the blue. In the last palette hole here, yellow and blue. Give it a good mix and we have a beautiful green. We'll paint that here between the yellow and the blue. So green is our third secondary colour on this chart. So now we have a colour chart, with the primary colours red and blue making purple, red and yellow making orange, and yellow and blue making green. We have the three secondary colours and the three primary colours on this chart. Now if you look around the chart, you can see that some colours are opposite each other. So you've got red and green opposite each other. You've got orange and blue opposite each other, and you've got purple and yellow opposite each other. These are called complementary colours. When two complementary colours are put together in a painting, they help each other stand out. One way to remember the complementary colours is to think of what they remind me of. Purple and yellow remind me of spring. Orange and blue remind me of the fall. And red and green remind me of winter festivities. Another way to remember the complementary colour is to think of your three primary colours. Pick one, and whichever colour the other two make is the complementary colour for that one. We'll now go on to make complementary colour bookmarks that can also help you remember. It's time to bring back the board with the taped sections. These sections don't have to be exactly even, it's okay. We just want to have 4 different sections so that we can paint the complementary colours in a cool design. We're also going to add a section that is black and white, so we'll use a little drop of black paint for this too. This is what our bookmarks will look like. So we'll need to draw a few lines first. The first lines will be diagonal from corner to corner in each section, creating an X. Next, we will put diagonal lines across the entire sheet of paper from corner to corner, creating a giant X, just like on the colour chart. And then I'll draw one more line horizontally across the board, meeting each of the X's inside each bookmark. It doesn't have to be perfect, but as close as we can get. This will create a symmetrical design on both sides of the bookmark. However, when we paint the bookmarks, we won't be painting them symmetrically. Each of the 2 sections will be painted in the opposite colours of each other. Like this. We're going to start by using one colour for each section first. That will allow the paint to dry before we add the second one. Each section will have 2 of the colours from the colour wheel, a primary and a secondary colour, the ones that complement each other. If you think you might want your primary colours to be a bit stronger or you're just running low, now is a good time to add a little bit more paint to the 3 primary colours. This will also allow you to make more of your secondary colours should you need some. I would like my primary colours to be a bit stronger, so I'm only going to put 3 drops of water in each of these new drops of paint. Now the colours are ready. I'll just add a little bit of black to the palette and a drop of water, and it's good to go. Now it's time to put a primary and a secondary colour that complement each other in each section. It doesn't matter what colour you start with. I'm going to start with red. This will be painted in a kind of checkerboard design, where the same colour only connects right in the tip of the corners. I'll use the trick of putting a dot of the same colour in each section that I'd like to paint. That way I know where not to paint. Let's take a look at the photocopy of a previous painting. There we go. Now we can see exactly where to put the dots, and it just makes it just that little bit easier. If you're painting this along with me, you could pause the video while you can see the image and place your dots where you need them as well. Filling in these spaces is a bit of an adventure in using your brush carefully, painting very delicately and cautiously trying not to go over the lines, and at the same time creating a nice little smooth space of colour in each section. The first part of painting these sections on the bookmarks is done in real time. And then I've double timed some of the video in order to keep a good pace. However, you do not have to move at that speed. You can pause the video and take your time to carefully paint the sections and then start the video again when you're ready. I'm almost done painting the red sections. I'll just put dots in the next section to show where the purple will go. There you go. It's also a good idea to flip the board around, make it easier to reach what you're doing. Again, I'm going to speed up this portion of the video and you can pause it when needed, where needed, and then start again where needed. If you need to, you can place the dots for the next colour, just getting ready for painting the next one. So this is where the orange will be. This section of the video is speeded up in double time. Don't feel like you have to paint this fast because we are just shortening the overall length of the video, and by now you already know that we are painting these sections very carefully and slowly. As with all my videos, you can pause at any time to catch up. And now for the dots for the black. We're just going to wet the small brush and give the black a stir in its drop of water. And it should become a little bit pasty. And that's perfect. And we will just drain the brush and gently get a little bit on the brush and place the dots. It's worth taking your time to carefully paint the edges and fill in the sections to get that nice crisp edge on the shapes. This part of the video is also in double time. Now the first colour is on each bookmark. It's time to look at the complementary colours. So we'll be adding green to the red bookmark. The focus now is filling in the spaces and carefully painting the edges without overlapping the colours. But keep in mind, as well as this having a beautiful geometric look, it's supposed to be fun. So a little overlapping is not that bad. It can always be adjusted later. So if it should go over the edge, you can always sort of rinse it off with a little bit of water, let it dry, and then retouch the paint later. But I do find it to be quite an adventure to try not to overlap the paint, but even myself has a little difficulty with that at times. We will continue on to put the yellow with the purple and the blue with the orange. And I'm going to double time this part of the video so that the overall length of the video is shorter. If you are painting along with me, I hope that you're enjoying the adventure of filling in these bookmarks. Once painted and dried, it will be time to remove the tape. I'm going to remove mine now just to show you, but you'll have to curl the tape side to the side, one side, and then to the other side, back and forth like this, but not tearing straight across the paper, because it will sometimes pick up pieces of paper on the tape and could tear your artwork. So you have to be very careful just to curl the tape one side, then the other until it comes off. Likewise, with the tape around the edges of the bookmarks, you'll want to tear outwards away from your artwork. But because these are in the middle, you kind of have to do it one way, then the other. Now your strips are ready to make bookmarks. We have our colour chart with the red, yellow and blue, purple, green and orange, primary and secondary colours and complementary colours. And this is a nice way to remember them. Now you could cut these out and then laminate them. You could use packing tape, or if you have a laminator you could run them through there and then stick them in your favourite books. I hope you've enjoyed this class. Thank you for viewing and or trying it out. If you'd like to find more classes like this one, please go to Art with Janine Liza on YouTube.